Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna show you how I made my daughter a little cute polka dot sweater. So I went ahead and traced an old sweater from her to make this pattern, but it turned out too small, so I just made it bigger and bigger until I thought like it was the perfect size, until like I measured it. And then also I did two sample scraps, and the second one I made was a little bit better, but I knew it was still too small. But I went ahead and traced it again and cut everything to make this one, because I kind of had it in my head different than how the original sweater was anyways. So here I'm just gonna show, like, okay, so yeah, everything matches, and I'm going to cut the middle part. So right now all I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the shoulder seams and the sleeves. So, and then I went ahead and cut two of everything. So it's going to be the lining and the outer part of the little sweater. Excuse me guys, my little son. And so at first I was like, I'm just going to sew it, both of them all at the same time. And I was like, okay, no, I'm not going to do that. I went ahead and just sewed first both of them separately. I sewed one long sleeve from the wrist all the way down to the side, so all the way to the bottom, and it was just one long sewn piece. Because I've noticed with a lot of like items that are sold at the store, I've noticed that everything is all like one long seam, you know. So I did that for both of them. And because remember, I'm going to cut the middle part. So I figured I can sew them shut and then just cut the opening in the middle. And I'm just showing you guys how I did it. And also when you're pinning, okay, don't start from the wrist. Don't start from like the side where your hip is. Always start from the armpit sleeve. Connect those two seams first and then pin all the way down to the arm wrist part and all the way down to like your hip, because if you have to make sure all your seams are matching, okay? So here are the two little sweaters, and don't they look so cute? And I just went ahead and cut the middle part. See? Be careful. I was going to use a rotary cutter, and I was like, no. I'm just going to go ahead and use some tijeras. And I did, and yeah. It looks cute, because when I did this, I was like, it actually looks like believable. You know what I mean? And let me show you what I did again in a slower version. So what I did is I turned one sweater inside out, and then I tucked it inside so the right sides are still touching. And I'm going to sew. Pay attention to this part, because this is where it gets confusing. I'm going to sew the neckline for both of them together and the bottom. So see, the neckline, I'm going to sew this part and this part. This part, the sides that are cut in the middle that are open flapped, I'm not going to sew them shut, okay? And you're going to see why. So just the neckline and the bottom seam and the bottom where like the hip is sewn. Now the parts that I didn't sew, the middle part, I'm gonna leave it open so that I can turn them inside out. You see how it looks like a crazy octopus sweater? Like, boom, it turns to one. Let me show you what I did. So I put my arm inside one sleeve, grabbed the other sleeve, and pulled it through. See? And now as I'm trying to fix it, and I realized that it was hard to see, so I went back in and cut some seams. I'm not sure if it's making sense, because, okay, you see, let me cut some seams and let me show you. This is why I left the middle part untouched. Why I only sewed the neckline and the bottom hip, and then I pulled everything inside out, right side out, through the middle seams, the middle, not seams, the middle part, the opening. And I'm just cutting everything to make it look cleaner wherever it curves. And now it looks like a sweater. And then I realized that the middle part was too small. It was way too small. So I went ahead and on both the middle part where like the zipper or buttons can be, I added about an 1.5 inches on each flap. I'm gonna say flap. On each flap. And yeah, so I added them, and I didn't do it perfectly and I didn't think it through, but when you're sewing, you know, you're gonna make mistakes here and there. But overall, I really liked how it turned out. So as I'm sewing this part, usually people use that lining or the fusible lining or fusible fabric, fusible something to make this part thicker, but I didn't, because I'm still learning. I was like, I'm not about to spend more money. I'll just make this work. Okay, this was $2 fabric at Walmart. $2 a yard. Like, I'm gonna make this work, you know what I mean? So here we go. And since, as you can see, I'm doing it now to the other side, and I still have to top stitch. Okay, so here I top stitched everything. I top stitched the sides, the flaps or whatever, the neckline, the bottom like waistline. Everything is top stitched, so there's, even if I turn it inside out, it's gonna look, you're not gonna see the bad side of the fabric anymore, you know, unless of course it's with the sleeves, because right now I'm going to cut. So I sewed the wrists and I cut cuffs. Are they cuffs? Can you call them cuffs right now? I'm not sure. But I cut to make them longer because I noticed that the sweater was a bit too small on the arms for my daughter as well. So I was like, oh, let me add like 1 inch or so. You know what I mean? Just to make it fit right. And that's what I did. And I added it to both sleeves. I sewed them, I turned them inside out, and I tucked it all in. And take your time with sewing. You have to be patient. Just to make this sweater, it took me 1.5 weeks. You know, I just don't get overwhelmed. Sit down and try to do it all at once, because even as you can see, adding the cuffs, adding the cuffs alone took me a good like hour. You know what I mean? Because I sewing them on, folding them, make sure everything is hidden, we don't want anything to show, any loose threads, stuff like that. You know, just take your time. It's going to be worth it. Yeah. So I went ahead and did that. And now it's done, and look how cute it looks. And I was like, oh, I'm totally gonna leave it like this. It looks beautiful. I don't need to do nada to it. But then my daughter put it on and she wasn't feeling it. She was like, as you can see by her face, like, I mean, she was like, it's nice, you know, but I don't know, she just wasn't feeling it. So
this is how you make.
Put this away.
Okay. Let me show how you make them. So this is how you make a jacket with some buttons. This is how you make a jacket with buttons, and you have to pick nice buttons or something, and it's really easy. You just have to make it so hard, and I'm sorry, I'm just so excited. And when you make it, it's gonna be really nice. And then if you make it,
as you can tell by my daughter's voice, she was very excited for some buttons. And unfortunately, I didn't have white ones. I had these like 4 rustic looking ones. And because this is the first sweater that I am making her, I'm like, screw it, you know, things don't need to match. I'm just gonna wing it, go for it. And she chose them, she liked them, and that's all that matters, you know what I mean? And just to put on buttons alone, guys, oh my goodness, I don't have a button presser foot, I don't know, but I don't have that, so I had to sew them by hand, and it took a good 2 hours because, oh my goodness, buttons. But overall, like, look at her face now, you know what I mean? She loves it. She puts it on and she's warm. She took it to school today and she's just smiling, super happy. Like, she really loved this sweater. Like, I'm really happy I made it for her. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have fun making your own little sweaters. And have a great rest of the day, week, everything. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.